I mean, I hate to keep bringing up lists, but we did the takeaways last week, and
Okay.
he actually was he was pretty solid in his sort of.
Why? What did he say?
For all the games, he kind of comes up with, so and so is going to do great, or this is going to be a blowout. He even
Now, did
called
you go
the
back
Seattle
and check
Green
it?
Bay.
Did you audit it?
Yeah. He called the Seattle Green Bay game. He didn't call why, but he knew there were some things that he.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so
not that it's a competition,
once again, no.
But
it's never a competition.
But this is I kind of like. There's always competition.
Yeah, true.
All right, so you give me just sort of a takeaway from each game.
Okay.
Not each game, but some of my favorites. Starting with Chargers at the Chiefs.
My first reaction is blah. I'm not going to watch much of this.
Oh,
game.
yeah?
Yeah. I mean, the Chargers laid such an egg last week. I'm not surprised that they did this because they do that in September is the extent that they did it against Atlanta last week. I really thought that this was a legitimately decent team with a good, tough defense. I still think it is a good, tough defense. They just had a horrible game last week. Part of it is I think is Atlanta's for real. I think the Chiefs coming off of a high like this, I'm intrigued to see this. This is almost exactly like last year where they stunk the first 2 weeks and then surprised people later on. Jamal Charles should have a decent day. Michael Turner averaged 5 yards a carry against the Chargers last week, so I think Charles should be good, and he'll be active for everybody this week at least.
Is Matthews legit?
Yeah, I think he is. It's another week back. He had limited touches last week, 10 carries, 5 receptions. This week, he'll probably have a few more carries. I think they won't be behind 3 scores right away, so he'll get more action. Hopefully he won't fumble on the 3 again. So
okay. Giants at Eagles.
Should be a great game.
Michael Vick. Is anyone going to start Michael Vick this week?
Of course they are. I mean, he's been getting the fantasy production more often than not. Last week was the first time he didn't do that. The previous 2 weeks, he had all the turnovers, but he had 300 passing yards one week, he had a rushing touchdown the next week. The Giants' secondary is still exploitable. I know they were better against Carolina on the Thursday night game, but I still think no Terrell Thomas. There's still a defense that you're going to get your points back. I think Jeremy Maclin plays this week, and that makes a big difference to the Eagles' offense. They just got to find a way to protect Vick better.
Who's winning?
That is the tough part. I mean, it's a 2-point line game, so it's a kind of a toss-up, basically. I'm going to say the Giants win on the road. The Eagles' malaise continues, but I think that it's probably like a 30-25 sort of type of game.
Okay. And Redskins at Bucks.
The Redskins secondary might be the worst in the NFL.
Really?
I'm a Bengals fan, right? So I watched all this game last week. Armand Ben scored on a 48-yard play. It was a 7-yard out. It was a basic out play, and the corner just got beaten badly. Took a terrible path to try to cover the guy, and there was no one down the sideline to kind of follow back. There's another play to Andrew Hawkins, his touchdown. The entire secondary was empty. It's just a terrible secondary.
Okay.
So I think Josh Freeman is actually a good start this week.
Really?
Yeah, I know he threw for 110 yards last week, and so it's going to be kind of counterintuitive, but pick him up if he's available. Say you got Ben Roethlisberger on your bye or Andrew Luck on your bye this week, pick up Freeman. Someone probably dropped him after this egg that he laid against Dallas last week.
I'm sure somebody did. Bills, Pats?
Bills, Pats. Now, this is interesting because there's no C.J. Spiller, probably. There's no Fred Jackson, probably, although we don't know about this. We'll see come
so
game time.
Choice?
Might be Tashard Choice, but it might not matter. I mean, I think it's going to be, we're going to have to throw the ball a lot. I think it's going to be a case there where maybe the Bills get off to a good start. This has been the formula for the last few times, by the way. The Bills get off to a good start, then the Patriots come on strong. I think Stephen Ridley is going to have a good game after frustrating people the last couple of weeks. I think he gets about 95 yards and a touchdown this week.
How many more weeks is Hernandez out?
Hazy still. Probably 3-4 more weeks. He's not a factor this week. Brandon Lloyd is getting a ton of targets. Wes Welker was a good buy low. I traded for him last week.
Oh, really?
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, no kidding. And Cincy, you said, right, is
yeah,
your
my
team?
Bengals. Got to give them my love.
At
Jacksonville. At Jacksonville. This is one of those weeks where they're riding high against a perceived weakling. I think they struggle this week.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. But then again, I thought they struggled last week, so I could be wrong about that. I'm actually really wrong about my own team more than anybody else. I'll do like staff picks. This happens all the time. I get a feeling about my team it's complete opposite. I think it's because, in a way, I try to look for the monsters under the bed sometimes. So I think that Maurice Jones-Drew is going to run like crazy against him. I think their run defense is very shaky. Their linebackers are not that good. But it's Blaine Gabbert, and we don't know what sort of game he's going to have. I do think Andy Dalton throws for 300 yards again, though.
Awesome. Who wins?
I'm going to say Jacksonville by field goal.
And Bears at Cowboys.
Oh, this game stinks.
This is going to be a horrible
It's like
game.
two big names, and okay, if you like defense, that's fine. Then you're going to like it because the Bears defense and Dallas defense, they're both very good defenses, and I think they're underrated. I especially think the Dallas defense is underrated. You know, they shut down the Giants reasonably well on opening night. They really stifled the Bucs last week. Even the Seattle game, it was because their special teams let them down, because Tony Romo turned the ball over a couple of times. They were digging a hole the whole time. I think this is a good defense. I think this is going to be take the under sort of type of game.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll see how you do.
All right, let's find out.
Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was fun.
All right. This is RotoWire TV.